For decades, a shadow known as the BTK Killer hung over Wichita, Kansas. When he was finally caught in 2005, the confession that followed was just stunning. It laid bare the mind of a truly meticulous predator. So today, we're going straight to the source, the official court transcript. We're going to understand his crimes in his own words. Everything, the entire case, really. It all comes down to this one single question from the judge. This is it, the moment of truth. After all the years of silence, the taunts, the terror, the man behind it all, Dennis Rader, is about to finally answer. So let's set the scene. It's June 27th, 2005. The whole world was expecting a long, drawn-out trial. But Dennis Rader, a 60-year-old man who was a church leader, a Boy Scout leader, a husband and father, he stunned everyone. He decided to plead guilty and just tell his story. The judge doesn't waste any time. He starts at the very beginning, asking Rader to go through each crime one by one. And Rader begins with his first, and maybe his most brutal attack, the murder of an entire family. Before we dive into the awful details, it's so important that we remember the names. Joseph and Julie Otero, and their two young kids, 9-year-old Joseph Jr. and 11-year-old Josephine. 4 people, 4 lives, just gone on a cold January morning. So how did he get in? This was his story. This was the ruse. He describes walking in with this almost boring tale of being a man on the run who just needs food and a car. It's such a calculated lie, designed to disarm them right before the horror began. And this quote, wow, it just shows you the sheer coldness of his confession. He's talking about his first time strangling someone with this detached curiosity, like he's just learning a new skill. It's honestly one of the most revealing and disturbing moments in his entire testimony. But the Otero massacre, that was just the beginning. Rader didn't stop. For the next 3 years, he just kept attacking, kind of refining his methods and absolutely terrorizing the community. His next target was a woman named Catherine Bright, but this time things didn't go according to his plan. See, he was waiting for her to come home alone, but her brother, Kevin, showed up with her. And this one unexpected variable, it led to a violent struggle and, amazingly, a survivor. So the key here is that loss of control. Rader shot Kevin Bright and thought he was dead. But the fight with Catherine was tough, and his preferred method, strangulation, it wasn't working. He ended up using a knife, which was a huge deviation for him. It really shows the chaotic reality behind all his fantasies of control. The murder of Shirley Vian in 1977 really highlights just how terrifyingly random BTK could be. The person he intended to attack wasn't home, so as he put it, he was all keyed up and just started driving through the neighborhood looking for an alternative. And he found Shirley Vian. Okay, this is just chilling. Rader describes how he and his victim, Shirley Vian, actually worked together to move her young kids into the bathroom before he murdered her. The fact that he uses the word we and this whole pretense of making the children comfortable, it's just a horrifying window into his manipulative mind. Now, with Nancy Fox, you can see Rader's process getting more refined. This wasn't random at all. He describes how he stalked her, learning her routines, her name. He even went to her job at a jewelry store just to size her up. It was a planned, predatory execution. After a gap of several years, Rader came back. But this time, his hunting ground was terrifyingly close to home. He started targeting women in his own community, his own neighborhood. I mean, just try to wrap your head around this. Maureen Hedge lived just a few doors down from Dennis Rader. They were neighbors. They probably waved to each other while doing yard work. And yet he snuck into her home and hid for hours, just waiting for the chance to kill her. And Rader's confession about Maureen Hedge's confession reveals a huge part of his ritual. After murdering her, he actually took her body to the church where he was a congregation leader, posed her, and took Polaroid photos. It was all about fulfilling what he called his sexual fantasy. To get access to these homes, Rader was a total chameleon. With some victims, like the Oteros, he played this desperate fugitive needing a car and food. But with others, like Vicky Wagerly, he was a telephone repairman, a trusted figure who could walk right through the front door. As Rader keeps confessing, he starts using his own private, deeply unsettling vocabulary. So let's look at the specific terms he uses to describe what he does, because it gives us a direct view into how he actually thought. The judge drills right down to the core motivation here, asking him point blank if all 10 murders were to satisfy a sexual fantasy. Rader's answer is just a simple affirmative yes. That one word, it reduces 10 human lives to just being props in his depraved mental theater. He even breaks down his victim selection into 2 stages. First, there's trolling, which he says is a wide search that could go on for years. Then it becomes stalking, where he'd lock onto a specific target and just learn everything about them. It's the language of a hunter. And Rader always came prepared. He actually refers to his tools as his hit kit, which he'd carry in a briefcase or a bowling bag. It had everything he needed for his ritual: restraints, weapons, a camera for his souvenirs, and even a change of clothes he called his hit clothes. So after Rader finishes this horrifying narrative for all 10 murders, the court finally moves towards sentencing. But even with a full, detailed confession like this, the story, it just doesn't feel entirely complete. The judgment was decisive. For the 10 murders he confessed to, Dennis Rader got 10 consecutive life sentences. That's a total of 175 years, making sure he would absolutely die in prison. For the court and for the families of the victims, this chapter was officially closed. But outside the courtroom, the questions have persisted. Years later, investigators looking into other cold cases have stumbled across Rader's name. One sheriff's deputy, after looking at Rader's own writings and drawings, said this: "There's hints all the way through that can't be overlooked." And really, that brings us to our final thought. Rader confessed in meticulous detail to 10 murders. He answered every single question the judge asked him. So, after a killer gives what seems to be a full and complete confession, what questions could possibly still be out there?